All right, welcome to the VOD. We're gonna continue on Scarwood tonight. Don't know how long of a stream it's gonna be. Kind of tired, so maybe it'll only be a couple hours, but we'll see how it goes once people get in here and we start working on stuff. But thanks again for the comments and the feedback and the likes and everything on the previous videos. Seems like some of you have been watching the zone development process and enjoying it, so that's pretty cool. We're going to continue that. While I'm waiting on people to come into the stream tonight, I'm going to run up and check something really quick, maybe. Oh man, this kind of sloped road is kind of sketchy. We should probably leave it this way so that once we get like a caravan in, and you're up there on a caravan, you're kind of tilted. That'll be kind of scary. Hey, Sarenth. Meep Moop TV, what's going on? Morning for you. It's almost 8 p.m. my time. Those of you that haven't checked in a while, you can see we've got new textures on things and mercenary. That's probably loot that's overriding his actual. Let me see. Yeah, that's loot that's overriding his armor. Hey, chili sauce. But yeah, if you haven't seen it in a while, we've got new textures in here. I've changed a few things up. Should probably. This reminds me of like one of those Instagram videos where you're sitting in a tight alley and the train goes through. Like Vietnam or something. Yeah, we'll leave it for now. Hey Meeks. What's up, Dozakar? Bill. You can see the creepy green water over there now. I was wondering if I could run up that. Yeah, that's clearly safe to drink. Hey, XV, Viper. What's going on here? Send that screenshot over really quick. Oh, almost had to sneeze. I was going for the mute button and I wasn't going to be able to make it. Dude, I love this. I love this Robert track so much. This Robert track that's playing in the background is I love when it gets all like, it's kind of like that adventure mystery flute or whatever. What is that? Like a woodwind kind of. Reminds me of old movies, TV shows. Hey, Wallabus, Cad, Coot, Chaz Solo. Like I was telling the people watching the VOD a couple minutes ago, I'm just waiting on you guys to all roll in here before we kick off another session on Scarwood. Got some stuff to show you. Some progress on the zone you guys have been working on. Man, I love this track. I thought that was a freaking lizard on the wall for a second. It's a root. I was like, we got lizards? Is that a gecko? What's he doing? Climbing up the wall? That freaking root. Feature scope level wall lizards. Will we get called out for scope creep? Feature creep if we got wall lizards? That'll be the thing, man. Everybody on Reddit. Everybody on Reddit. FOH. They'll be like, oh, these guys are behind. Pet peeve. My pet peeve 103 did not get addressed because they were too busy dicking around with wall lizards. Man, I'm excited for people to be running around and shit. What's FPS like here? Not perfect. Okay, in editor 30 while streaming. It's always so unfair when I do that in editor while streaming. I have to take a look in the actual client. I asked that because it's a big ass sightline. It's kind of hard to occlude this kind of stuff. You were into this game until you saw wall lizards and you're like, these guys don't have their scope under control. Speaking of which, did someone respond to my response? Yeah, they did. Discord. Yeah, I wonder. I bet Chip's out there somewhere, like, just like shaking his head about how we're going to optimize this, because then you're going to have players running around as well. I mean, anything behind there should be occluded. I mean, I guess we also should be LODing the shit out of stuff at that distance. I mean, there's NPCs there, but can you really see them? Wall lizards equals Star Citizen 2.0. Oh yeah, that's probably. I mean, I guess if we were charging you $500 million for the wall lizards, I'm not going to count the other 500 million that they got. Man, it's funny, man. The rock distribution looks excellent now. Thanks, Darius. I'll pass the compliment along to Bjorn and Goblin, who figured this out. But Bjorn did most of the lifting in here and getting things revised. Hey, Dwivern. So I've been really waiting a long time to announce that we're having a week-long playtest starting this Friday. I don't know that that's true. That sounds like disinformation. Dude, there are definitely some spots around here where I've been working on stuff and you're just kind of like hanging out working on something, and the day-night cycle, you know, the day-night cycle just kind of rotates through. It's like, man, it's gonna be fun just camping in random areas and camping in random areas and just kind of enjoying the atmosphere. Your wife's leaving for 2 weeks. You want to DJ on this game while she's gone? Oh man, I'm sorry. We could not align that better. But I understand. I understand the desire, the situation. I honestly do, like, you know, sometimes it's easy for me to kind of be, you know, like brush stuff off or whatever, but I have those moments as well where not so much lately, because this project consumes, like, even if I'm not working on it, this project's consuming my thoughts. I was telling Jasmine, I think the Airsoft weekend we had the other weekend is like the first time in a bit where I'll be honest, I didn't think of the project at all because I was too busy trying not to get shot, looking for people to shoot at, being tired, getting back to the van super tired, going to sleep, waking up, repeat, you know. Did I already say hi, Viro? Senior Angus, what's up? Cad said, dude, I was up last night thinking of something I'm actually working on now for the zone I'm working on. That's fun, right? Like when I had that happen, no spoilers, but that Fortress in the Distance, I had that happen. Where I woke up with something in mind, and then that was just like my mission for the day. It was like, I'm gonna figure out how to make this happen. Hey, Possum. Hey, Aramis. Yeah, so once, actually, I'm not gonna show you. Screen capture, darkness. You just have to look at me for a minute. Hey, Justin Beard. I just need one more minute. I'm gonna check this thing and then. I'll have to look this up in a database, actually. Cause my dumbass forgot his name. Oh, it's close. What is... Yeah, Eminem Guesser, what am I working on today? It's not super fair, though, if the screen's entirely black. Cool. My shit works. That's nice. Also, note to self, these guys look really decent in this cloth armor, so I actually should probably dress them up. And screen back on. So like I said, give it a few more minutes. Give it a little bit. We're not even 10 minutes into the stream really. Oh, we're 14 minutes into the stream, but we're only 7 minutes after the hour. And so we give it a little bit of time before we start on. Oh, geez. That'll work too, I guess. We'll give it a little bit of time before we kick off the continued zone design process for Scarwood. Hey, Gunnar Wolf. What level are they? They're pretty high level. They're pretty high level. Oh, let me go check something else. It's funny, the thing that I just hit on screen, it honestly, it wasn't that, it's not that mysterious. It just seemed more polite for you to not read, you know, any exact text, whatever that word is. Figure you could figure it out yourself. Okay, cool, doors working. Hey, Tithe. Darius said, just want to get this in for Scarwood. I'd love to see some Devil's Tower style Mesas Plateaus along those mountains. Kind of busy here, so may not say it later. Huh, I don't know. Do you think that fits the mountain style? Speaking of Devil's Tower, is actually looking at property with a view of it. Or near it, not a view of it, near it. I was showing Jasmine. Had to remind her of Close Encounters and stuff. Hey, Doggeroni. Arthix, what's going on? Yeah, I think it is in Wyoming. Justin Beard. It's, I mean, because the main places we've been looking at property is Wyoming, Idaho, Montana. Have looked at Tennessee on occasion. Have looked at Maine, but I just don't think Maine's going to be the one. My coffee's cooled down. We looking in similar spots just out of Asheville. I just my main problem with like North Carolina and Tennessee is for as nice as some of the land is out there, it just feels like there's too many people there. I love the idea of like Wyoming. Last I checked is like 500,000 people for the whole state. I think there's too many people. What's the plan for fleshed out voices for the different characters? Way after I need a doofus sounding ogre to play as. I honestly don't know how much what we're doing. I mean, we've got like the little grunts and moans and stuff. Robert's been knocking that out. I don't know how much more we're looking to do. Give it another year and a half, and we'll just, I mean, I think all the completely like VO'd, AI VO'd options will be super and easy to integrate, and that'll probably wind up being that. Let's get real. And then you can just make your characters sound however you want them to sound. Cat says, makes an MMO, get these people away from me. I mean, so I like people. I just don't like a lot of people, especially a lot of people I don't know, in a situation where they don't know me, I don't know them. So if they want to like do crime, then they're more inclined to, and I don't want to be around them. Also, there's the situation of like, if something were to ever get goofy, I want to be away from big cities and stuff like that. So I'm one of those types. I figure, you know, probability of anything getting super goofy while I'm still alive, not huge. I mean, I'm 50, right? So I probably got a solid, what, realistically 10 to 30 years left. So I want to, you know, we want to find like a small town where we can have land and some animals to take care of, and, you know, occupy our time and just peace and quiet, and log into the tech when I need to, and then otherwise be pretty tech free. Loves technology, once rustic. You're every tech guy. Check out Southern Oregon near Grants Pass. Yeah, some people have spoken highly of Oregon. I think if parts of Oregon became Idaho, then I'd be more into it. What kind of animals? Goats, sheep, chicken, donkey. One of our team members has that set up. Might really like Ashland. I love goats, especially after reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. All right, Ashland. I'm opening a tab. Ashland, Oregon. I'll check it out. I don't know about the state government of Oregon though. I'll have to read up on it. Am I talking about moving? It's just pie in the sky. Like one of these days, if we ever have the cash, if investments pay off, blah blah blah, then we want to get to the U.S. Justin Beard said, "There's a lady, I forgot her name, but she streams video games. She lives on a horse ranch in the middle of nowhere in northern Nevada. Really sounds like she's having a good time. Wish I could remember her name." Be nice to Carl Pony. We were talking about that earlier today. Carl, you are my best friend. Right, no spoilers. No spoilers, sorry. Let's see. Oh, pack mules. Hey, you want to see something real cool? It's a spoiler for the update. As long as you promise to enjoy the update still, I'll show you something badass. There'll be an update at the end of this month. Yep. Do you want to see something badass, or do you want to wait for the update? Or both? You can close your eyes if you don't want to see it, maybe. That is a badass. That wasn't even intentional. We just ran into it. Isn't that cool? Cool. So, bit of a spoiler, but you know what? Zach's done some pretty incredible work on it, and you guys will be able to see it. See it in an update, but can you tell us how expensive it'll be in relation to average projected wealth, like owning a pack animal? I honestly, I don't know. We want a lot of this stuff to be really aspirational. We don't want it to be throwaway. So I mean, odds are it's going to have some cost to it. Like mounts are going to have some cost. We really do want them to be a thing where, especially early on, you see one, you're like, oh my god, that's cool, and I would love to be able to get it. And then for some people, you know, like it's a save up kind of choice. Does that make sense? Wallabies asks, did you end up figuring out whether pack animals will be able to hold coin or to be determined? I don't know why they wouldn't be able to. So I'll have to see if there's something I was missing in terms of like philosophically why we wouldn't, or gameplay wise why we wouldn't. Donkey runs off, spends all your money on feed. I could see that. Here, have you guys seen, I can show you some other stuff, I mean, while we're waiting. Robot, have you got any new music that you've been into lately? I've been listening to I've been listening to one album and one like random artist playlist a good bit. Susie and the Banshees, was listening to some Susie and the Banshees, and shitloads of Kansas. Gloomkid, what, did you see it on my Discord or whatever? I've been listening to Kansas on repeat. What does that look like as an outside observer? And it's you could probably gauge when I'm working out as well. My knees are still swollen, so I'm not doing legs this week. But I've just been doing upper body, and it's like Kansas, the same Kansas album over and over and over. And then workout time, it's like I'm either listening to a podcast, or it's like Malevolence, or yeah, I think mostly Malevolence. But Susie and the Banshees is awesome. That was over the weekend. Would you say you're a wayward son? Dude, that one song, He Knows, I think. That's such a good song. Hold on a second, I'll confirm. But Kansas is so good. Like everybody just, I think everybody just fixates on like, you know, hold on one sec. Yeah, so the album is Point of No Return. And I think everybody fixates on like Dust in the Wind or whatever. Dude. That song, so Point of No Return is awesome. The Spider is awesome. Portrait, that's it. Portrait, He Knew. Crazy. It's just, it's great, man. I've been listening to a lot of Styx and Eagles lately. I could definitely see moving over to Styx sometime soon. You installing Spotify? No, it does that every time I open it. Every time I open it, reinstalls itself to grab the latest version. Isn't that a normal thing? What's up, Dark Inside? Said I just played a mission for Space Marine 2 story mode, and then the game crashed, and I honestly almost cried because I almost beat it. I'm sorry to hear that. You've been listening to a lot of Clutch lately? They played the festival I went to last year, and I wound up only seeing them at a distance, unfortunately. Oh, anyway, I came over here. You'll see some updates with regards to UI. We're continuing to work on that. Encrypt has been working on that for us. You'll see, like, we're starting to get the basic sort of, like, it's going to be kind of a interesting design. There's going to be a lot of, like, things you can do, like grab these tabs and pull them off separately as new functionality comes online, like the ledger and stuff. It'll either be full screen, like take up the full thing, you can pull it out as a separate tab, or you can mix and match, like, you know, the pieces. So you could be like a mix of inventory and ledger, or potentially like your guild and ledger, you know, face faction. So the ledger, we've also got a social ledger that's going to come online. Oddly enough, I don't have... Is this actually working? Let me... Can I drop this? Is it no drop? Okay, yeah. Eh, 131 days ago. Interesting. It's still in progress. Oh well. Still in progress. Hey, keyframe. Looking cool. You think the UI for that stuff will be in for the next playtest? It looks like it's. It looks like it'll be in, but maybe needs some iteration. What's up, Wolverine? Hey, you shoes. Trying to get out in the sun. Have you seen how the horse inventory works? So depending on what rigging you put on the horse, it changes how their inventory works. So like this is a saddle instead of like a pack rig. So it gives me option for 2 saddlebags, bag, and then like 3 bags. So different saddles and different rig types will give you different numbers of equipment slots and types of equipment slots, so that you can kind of specialize your mount. So there, I think we had said there are going to be like 3 rigging types. So this is like saddle riding. Then you got like a pack sort of load. And then you've got essentially a pulling rig. So so like pulling wagons and things like that. And I think, you know, once we figure out wagons, then we could have it be all kinds of different stuff. Maybe sleds and other stuff. If your mount dies, how long will you have to loot it? And if it gets attacked, will it run? If it gets attacked, will it run is a good question. Right now, I think it just fights. They were pretty OP for a while. I think it would just fight and die. I don't know that it will run away. If it dies, I think we're being pretty forgiving on how long you have before it potentially decays. Like being very forgiving on that. But that's something we're going to be pretty we're not going to be overly harsh on. What happens if you die and it doesn't? Then it's probably just going to stand there until something comes and kills it. Determine it. I assume the strength of the horse will determine how much a horse can carry. Yeah, so the fact that it's got stats allows us to allows us to play around with some stuff like that. Are those riggings trade skill made? The one I'm using right now, the saddle I'm using right now, is trade skill made. I think the only ones in the game so far is I think the only ones that are available are trade skill made. Oops, I'm on my horse, so I can't do that. Would be funny, not funny if it runs if you forget to tie the horse to a post or stable. I don't know if you'll find that funny. Yeah. Big man on a tiny. It does follow me, yeah. So we'll have some different poor mount. We'll have some different mounts and horse options and stuff. I mean, I'm in the camp of there should be different types of horses, and if you want to ride a horse, then you've got to get a bigger horse as a rather than have it like automatically scale. Will there be a combat set of mount gear in addition to what you mentioned? Yeah, so it's got inventory slots for like barding and different shoes and stuff as well. Can we ride a mammoth? Would we? I mean, if we had mammoths, then it's something we could look into. You can ride stuff that we have, and then as we add more stuff, then it'll expand what you can ride. So you're saying that if we have a gnome with a horse, it's not necessarily going to be a tiny horse? I'm saying like my take on it is, you know, and there'll be some competing. I guess it's interesting. I think we're LODing certain animations too aggressively. So I'd rather, I'm in the camp of, for a gnome, either we have like tiny, like kind of Shetland looking horses, and then we do something to make them look more than just kind of like small, or we have like dogs and wolves that they can ride, right? Like smaller animals that they can ride. So like, yeah, like little ponies, miniature ponies, you know, and it's the same thing. Like if a ogre's going to be on a horse, you can get it like a Clydesdale or whatever. Can you hop back on the horse so I can grab a screenshot? I don't know what you're going to use this screenshot for, Tupac, so no. Can a gnome use an ogre as a mount? That has been something that we said we want to do for quite a while now, so eventually. All right, are you guys ready? We're now 40 minutes in. There's a D&D 3.5 image of a halfling riding a dog as a mount. Always thought it was the coolest. We've got an illustration that Goblin did of a gnome on a dog. That's pretty amazing. Okay, Ollie just scared me. Everybody, first of all, send out your prayers or good vibes, whatever it is that you're into, for Ollie. Ollie dislocated his shoulder. For now he's sitting in bed or whatever, busting my balls with Adobe Illustrator. Eminem's first injury. I don't think it's our first injury, I'll be honest with you. Extreme gardening? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I did since, I mean, what's it been now? A year? 2 years? A year? I mean, I've lost a finger. I've had shoulder surgery. Ollie's getting shoulder surgery. We've had a number of people. I'm not going to speak for them. I'll let them reveal their own stuff. I don't mind. By the time 1.0 comes out, Eminem dev team will be more machine than man. How you laugh about it, but we'll see how it goes with AI. We may be one of the last games that's made by humans. So, on that note, are you guys ready to continue to look at the zone you've been working on? Is everybody in here? How many of you have actually been working on Scarwood with us? Oh, excuse me. Justin Beard says, I totally forgot about this, but I know somebody who dislocated both shoulders while skiing. He had all these therapies after he did one. They cleared him to ski, and the next day he dislocated the other shoulder. Needless to say, he did not go back to the same surgeon. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been pretty blessed. You know, like the work that I've been doing, like the work that I learned in physiotherapy here has really helped, because I've been able to like go back to lifting, I'd say pretty much the same way, if not better in some cases than before the surgery, without pain, despite them saying I probably need a future surgery. But just lots of constant physio has helped out a lot. Hey Shannon. Okay, so let's get to business. Let's get to business, and then we'll see if we, you know, what all we get done today, or what we wind up discussing and stuff. Yep, we've got a color map and some other stuff to look at. So let's check it out. You seem spoilerish. There have definitely already been a few little spoilers in the stream, but nothing major. It's one of the things that we've had to consider, is like, this is a conversation we just had not too long ago, is we want to keep doing streams, even in early access, even after 1.0, until you guys get tired of the streams, or until you become so belligerent that we don't want to do them anymore. In here every day, like, why haven't you fixed my monk, or whatever the shit is? Why don't we have trolls yet? We've got wall lizards and no trolls. So we'll see. But we want to do streams for as long as possible. And then the problem is, it's so easy for like little spoilers to leak out and stuff like that, right? But like, my point of view on it has just kind of been, all right, so we beat the wiki by a month or something. I don't know, you know, so I'd rather, I don't know. I just feel like I'd rather continue the dialogue, and then sometimes you guys see some shit, and it's kind of up to you how much you like go back through old VODs frame by frame and blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, if you want to be a weirdo about it, I guess, but try to do some things to make it a little less likely to like spoil stuff. But I mean, invariably new systems are coming online, or new tools or whatever, something's going to pop up, and that'll be that. So anyways, let's talk about Scarwood now. Timestamp 47 minutes. How much of the player base is regularly tuning in here anyway? Hopefully only 0.0001%. How about that? I never check, but I just moused over the viewers, because it's usually a dash. 88 viewers. All right, so let's hope that we have at least 10 times as many players. Let's hope that we have at least 100 times as many players. Otherwise, Coot said got 3 animals watching with you, so that's 4. Which animals? Remember this day when you're neck deep in viewers and you can't recall our names, please. I think this always, it's always going to be a smaller stream. If it gets bigger, then cool, you know, as long as people behave themselves. 2 dogs and 1 cat. They're somewhere in the pet channel. I love the pet channel so much. I haven't checked in a week or 2, but I'll have to catch up. But I love that you guys share your pets. Pets are so amazing. All right, so last week we were looking at the pencil map and we used it. Has anybody not been here for any of these sessions? Should I do a super quick run through of what we've been doing? Show of hands if you don't, if you're new to the concept. Nobody? Okay. Well, then I'll still do I'll do a super quick run through then. Those of you that maybe don't remember, we started with basically 2 boxes, Keeper's Bite, Fields of the Lost, and we said, what would it be like to have a traversal focused zone? So something that feels a bit more like a Quran or something like that. Relatively simple zone with some constraints, and we're going to work on a zone together. We're going to design this zone with it being very constraint focused, so you can get a feel for kind of how we go through and whiteboard out a zone pretty quickly, in my experience. Other teams may do this in different ways, but on pretty much every project I've been on, starting with EverQuest, this is generally the approach that we take. Caveats are sometimes people will show up with a full map. Those people could be designers, artists, programmers, whomever. Typically, it's going to be a designer or an artist. And for artists, you know, that is one of those things where we've even had that on this project where, you know, an artist may show up. Like Simon was like, hey, what do you think about this dungeon? And it's like, oh, cool. What if we added this and changed that? Still feel good about it? Yeah. Okay. All right. And that dungeon's actually in progress. It's fantastic. Chinny and Simon are working on that dungeon. That hypothetical is an actual legit dungeon. You guys have never seen anything about it. You've never seen a single screenshot of it. It's super badass, and we may show that. Maybe in the update there'll be some screenshots, but honestly, I like a quick little video clip would be better because you need to see it in action to really appreciate it. So another spoiler there. But a lot of times we'll just be like, we'll have some basic constraints and we'll go, what's the utility of this zone, or what's the general purpose? How many POIs are we thinking? And in this case, we were like, hey, we want something that's kind of a big traversal zone that adds some distance between these 2 zones for you to cross. Heavy reuse of assets. So essentially, if it's something that we have already got in Keeper's Bite or something that we're making for Fields of the Lost, we can go from there, and or we can use that, and then we went from there. And so what you guys wound up doing was it was a mix of discussing. It was a mix of just ideas. We had a bunch of ideas. We started talking about a bunch of different NPCs that we thought could be in a zone, some different themes. We discussed what Fields of the Lost might look like in terms of theme. And that's where Simon actually popped in and was like, hey, what about kind of the, what is it, Dead Marshes? And yeah, so we took all of that. And then we basically, we didn't throw anything away yet. We started talking about points of interest, and we started mapping those out, talking about sub-themes and sort of like, where does the Field of the Lost sub-theme begin? What do we have here? Mountains and stuff, blah, 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 lake. And we went through here as we started mapping basically the small list of POIs and the NPCs that we had onto specific kind of like POIs or areas within the map. We started to get a feel for kind of how things were spread out, and You know, like we started to get a feel for like the little sub themes, right? NPCs running around here, you know, okay, we got the lake, we've got a giant camp here, we've got, you know, some of the ideas that came up, like the dried old well, that's the big giant well that you can ride a bucket down, that kind of stuff, right? So we mapped that out, and we could kind of see like POI density. And then we started getting rid of stuff, right? We started chopping things that we didn't think we were actually going to use. So we winnowed it down, trying to make the theme a bit more consistent. And, you know, really then when we started reading through again, we're like, all right, this has got a feel to it. And so that's kind of the process. There's stuff here that we won't throw away because we'll use some of this in like our population work and kind of refining some of the POIs and stuff. Same here with the themes. And so we took this, and then, you know, one of the things that we do on the M&M side is we'll take something like this, and then we'll have a map made, and you can see here one of Nicodemus here in chat builds maps. He'll do like a pencil map, and then as he's doing pencil maps, you know, he'll start to add in some little details and get creative. And this gets into kind of the thing that I was saying before, where the way that we tend to work, especially on M&M, is the fact that different people will kind of have input, and we behind the scenes we have a lot of just everybody's in like almost every channel and giving input and stuff. It'll pass, our ideas will pass through different filters and get some different flavors and additional ideas and stuff put on it. And then really one of like my jobs is to just kind of like manage that process, and because we don't want it to be just like a cacophony, like just a crazy jumble of ideas. We want them to work together. And so sometimes there's a little bit of pruning or winnowing, or I see what you're saying there, but you know. And so that's yeah, so anyway, we've landed here, right? And it's great because then, you know, you get little interpretations that then make you think of, like, even this would be a new asset, but maybe we can use it over here. So maybe it doesn't break our constraint too much. And I know it's an asset that we'd reuse, but like, Bill included like willows. Okay. A willow tree. I could see that. That might be a worthwhile asset. Right? And so it's just like the various people's interpretations that then help bring it even more to life. All right. So the next step then, and I can, the next question that came up was from Bjorn, who is basically going to make the 3D version of it. And so his immediate question was, what are the elevations like? And so I did just like a quick write-up of like pink arrows indicate sort of an ascent. And brown arrows are flat. And so he used that, and we'll skip ahead real quick. Bjorn used that to start to make kind of like a topographical map. So you can see that here. So we've done no work on this outside of the streams, just to try to keep this as consistent as possible. So we've done no work except for what Bjorn's done. And so Bjorn, I asked him before the stream, how many hours do you think you've spent on what you've done so far? And it'll be more than this. This is just one step in it. He said he spent about 3 hours so far. So everything you see today will be an additional 3 hours of work on Bjorn's end. So I think we've done 3 streams, maybe 2 hours per stream. Right. So far, so good. So anyways, Bjorn did the topographical map in preparation for doing 3D, and at the same time, Bill did two things. What do you think about KI and generated landscape? KI in Germany means AI, which just makes me think AI. So KI. AI. Okay. Yeah, in German it's what is it? Künstliche Intelligenz. So, isn't that correct? Künstliche Intelligenz. Yeah. So, which is like künstlich? Isn't that like artistic intelligence instead of artificial? Or is künstlich artificial? Can it be both? Like if I have a künstliche Weihnachtsbaum, would be like an artificial Christmas tree or something? I don't think I've ever used those words together. Can be both, depends on context. Okay. Are you guys just really good with German, or are you Germans? I forget. Ahoy, you're German, right? Oh, no, don't be sorry that you're... I'm German, sorry. It's okay, it was a long time ago. So, Bill pinned it in. So anyways, to answer your question, it's easy to generate terrains. But what we want to do is, again, this may be one of the last games that's human made. We wanted to make our map, right? We didn't want to just leave it up to an AI to generate a map. Now, we do use tools to generate the terrain, though, based off of this in the topographical, and you'll see that in a second. So we've used World Creator primarily for the generation of the mesh. All right, so we've got the inked in version, and now we've got the color version. And this is a low res image. I apologize for that. I guess in theory I could shrink it down a little bit and then zoom in more. I just grabbed this image really quick. All right. And so again, the image itself is not doing Bill's map any favors. I apologize for that. But you can get a feel. His real life map is not blurry. Because he sits down with a, you know, obviously he sits down with a pad and pen and then makes these. So we've got all of this now, which then we will now see. Yeah, definitely maps for the shop eventually. So we're here. Let's zone to this zone now. All right, so we're here now. We're gonna be doing some things with the fog and things like that. Well, did not think we'd be running around in anything so soon. Doggeroni? We could, some of the stages are fast and some then take a while, right? So you did help. You made this happen. Okay, so now the thing we've got to look at is scale. Right? So we've got our map. Okay. We got this cloud layer here. There we go. I was about to say. So, here's the map so far. Gotta correct myself. Artificial is künstlich. Artistic is künstlich. Künstlerisch. Kunstfleisch. My pronunciation is bad, but thank you for the clarification. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a human really quick. Because that will definitely affect the way that you see things. And then typically when we're looking at maps, when we're at this very, very first stage of we've got it in, one of the first things we want to do is get a feel for like, how big is it actually? So we are here. Does that make sense? That we're here? So one of the first things we can do is we can run down to the lake and just get a feel for both how long it takes to get there from the zone line, and then also kind of get a view of the lake and see, all right, it looks cool here, but what does it look like in the context of this bigger zone? So one thing that we can do is we can start a stopwatch and literally time ourselves. And I will typically take the time, rather than just do math, I will take the time to run between each sort of like key area of a zone with the stopwatch, so that I can get a feel for, like, basically we'll do straight. Cool. We'll start here. 2 minutes and 15 seconds, you think, from here to the lake? Tupac? I think you're going to be off. And I will do it without any movement enhancement, and then I'll do it with max move rate enhancement. Or typically I'll do it with like Sal. I say that because I'm like, I don't know if we've got something like Celos or whatever beyond that. So just getting a feel for it. All right, so I'm gonna start the stopwatch, and we're gonna run to the lake. And this is without any move rate enhancement. Virtual Freedom says 6 minutes. Tupac 2. Keyframe 4. Hoop says 5. Arctic Wind, thank you for the follow 12 minutes ago. Sorry I didn't respond sooner. 3:15. All right. Get comfy, fellows. Yeah. So this can very easily be one of those super quick, like, oh man, shit's too big type situations, which is fine, right? Like, we typically change the scale of zones a few times after the initial like creation. There's no trees to dodge. There's no mobs to dodge. None of that, right? So this really is, like, when we're looking at this time, it's going to be kind of best as the crow flies scenario right now. Keyframe says, I think it being big thematically makes sense, right? Because it's like that in-between travel type zones that you described, at least how I interpret it. Shannon B said, you've said that this was intended to be a larger travel zone, right? Yeah, so agreed on both of that. But again, it's going to be up to us to determine, is this what we meant? Does this feel good? It's actually not going to take as long as I thought. What time do you typically shoot for a zone? It really depends on the nature of the zone. Here we are. 230. 240. 245. Bang. All right, Tupac. I'll take it. I'll say 245, right? So we'll go here. Boom. And so this was 245. What's going on there? Caladrol is being kind of weird. $245. And none of these colors are wanting to show up very well. We'll do this. That'll work. All right. So this is only to here though. So that's 245 there. Which then you can watch. We'll just turn around. Oops. We'll cast Speed of Wild. We'll reset our timer. And we'll start it. Those of you that can do math can probably figure this out. Random observation. A lot of the POIs in the zone seem to be along edge, corners, walls. Is that good? In this zone, I think it might be good. Because we've also defined like the paths through as kind of their own sort of POI, right? So I mean, we've got stuff going on both along the roads and in like the woods and stuff that the roads go through. What's up, Zukin? And I mean, I'll be honest with you, my answer on a lot of this stuff is going to sound kind of wishy-washy because we don't, you know, we're just not big believers in like formulaics. Like, does it feel good? Does this particular zone feel good for what we're trying to do with it? And every zone's going to have like a different vibe and maybe a different purpose. Sharp99, this is the new zone created by the community. Yep. This is, what is this, session 3 or 4? So if you're just tuning in, we're just showing the process over the last couple of sessions. We came up with it over the course of 2 sessions. We made some maps internally. Over the weekends, Bjorn put in a couple of hours, 3 hours to basically do the elevation maps, and then like bake out this mesh for us. All right, so like 145 now, like 145, 150. Cool. 10 minutes across the whole zone with Sal seems reasonable. Let's check that next. Let's go. Oh, why is it doing that? That's so weird. I think it's, maybe it's just unhappy with me because I've got a bunch of images in here or something. Just been being goofy today. Or is it that I've got a weird arrow type selected? Wow. You guys have been watching. Excalidral's been really good so far. Just being kind of goofy today. I don't have anything weird selected, right? Alright. Let's try end to end then. So, just zone wall to zone wall or zone line to zone line? It seems like it's connecting some way off anchor or something. Yeah, it is being kind of goofy, right? Zone line to zone line, and do we want to simulate? Do we want to simulate sort of the path through? Like one of these routes so that we're avoiding the mountains? Like basically we could go down here to this edge of this mountain because it's in there. And then curve up. Yeah, it is automatically anchoring. You're right. I wonder if I've just got something weird set. Alright, simulate the actual route. We don't have the road in yet, so that'll be a little bit harder, but I'm fairly certain we can do some windage and Alright, I'm done. Oh, I'm done screwing with these arrows for now. We know where the times belong. Are regular lines being stupid as well? Let's see. Cool. So, let's kind of shoot for this. Which, the first thing I notice here is this is actually where we want to shoot for, because this mountain isn't really a mountain all the way here, right? Like, so that's one of the things that we've noticed with some of our world creator translations is we'll find that it's kind of, it can be off, right? Because if I'm looking across here, I'd actually be looking. So that's the first thing I notice is I think this has got to come down a little bit more maybe. But let's see. What we'll do, excuse me, is we'll run straight. But see, like if I was running straight, I should just run right into the mountain. So that's one thing that'd be a bit of feedback that we'll give Bjorn is like, hey, can we move this down? Notice how this is scrunched up there. So for now, let's just run across it, see what happens, and then we'll curve north at some point. But we'll do that. All right, so if I'm timing it, typically I'll refresh my buff so that it doesn't die halfway through. How far is the game from being in a state that we'll be able to play, even if it's some alpha or beta? JLX Brown asked. You can play it now. I mean, you can't play it this very moment, but you can play it during the next public test. We've been running public tests. Can you run in Tapa mode and see your tune? Yeah, so you can run in scene mode. Like I can start running and then I can select myself in scene mode and see it happening. That is definitely something that we do sometimes. All right, so yeah, it's been playable since day one, Zukin said, which is fair. Oops. Yeah, those of you that are on the mailing list but not in the Discord, I apologize. I've been meaning to send those dates out. I've got the email ready to go and everything. I've been meaning to send... Oops. I've been meaning to send those out for like 2 days now. Zukin said I will always have fond memories of playing PillQuest. Man, it's so wild that you've been, because it was you, Harrison, Gary, John, Goblin, and then shortly after Robert, if I'm not mistaken, right? That first year, like there was the first year that was just the like 3/4 of us, and then going into the next year it was you guys. That's been forever. So wild. Anyways, let me refresh one more time. I get the stopwatch ready. Reset. Run. Start. Tupac says my bet is 7:30 with Sal going to South Mountain route. Alright, let's see. You're accurate before. Please ignore my editor hitching at the moment. And so, you're asking the question about whether or not we can see ourselves. Let's go down here. There I am. Zukin said it's crazy I was around that early. I feel very lucky. We've come so far. It's easy to forget sometimes. You were very lucky. We're very lucky, dude. It's definitely come a long freaking way. So that's us moving right now. We're 1 minute in. Yeah, you guys have definitely been working your asses off. One of the other things that we can do as we're sort of looking at scale is I'll throw in some relatively known objects. Let's see if I can get up this. I can, okay. I'll throw in some like known objects so you can kind of see them in the distance and start to get a feel for like, oh, okay, that's what that feels like. Yeah, like a banana. Just a tiny banana off in the distance. I know you worked on DC Universe Online, so I had a random DCO question. Did it start with DC approaching SOE about making a game? Or did SOE already want to make a superhero game and then just lock in a DC license? I think at this point it's okay for me to reveal what happened there. So before I got on the team, there was it was going to be like they were trying to get the Harry Potter license. Okay, adjust angle. That fell through. And then they're trying the Marvel license. And I think that almost happened. And then that fell through. And then the team that was pitching like for the green light wound up kind of like fading, and then the executive producer of EverQuest 2 and the creative director of EverQuest 2 moved to Austin to take over the Star Wars Galaxy studio. And I think at that point SOE had like gotten in touch with DC. I think part of the DC relationship was the fact that Jim Lee is a huge EverQuest player. And like huge EverQuest player. And so Jim wound up being like our, like he was the DC universe, like the DC Warner Brothers side of things. He was the creative director there. That's why like the cover art and stuff is all Jim Lee stuff. And then Jim and the guys that worked for him at Wildstorm Studios in La Jolla did the concept art and did a lot of the like character designs and stuff like that with our guys. So it just kind of locked in based on Jim already had a relationship with SOE because of his love of EverQuest. Like, I think Jim was you know, like the first person on his server to get his epic and shit like that. Like he's a legit EQ player. So that's how that happened. I need to cut more north. Oops. And so once they got the license, it was like a few of the guys from Star Wars Galaxies out, or sorry, a few of the guys from EQ2, and you know the team from Star Wars Galaxies was eventually going to be like pulled in a bit. Some of those people are going to be moved in to work on DCUO, especially on the tech side, and so the studio head asked me if I wanted to move to Texas to be like the content lead on DCUO. So I was like the 5th person on the team or something. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Immersed myself in comic books and had a really good time. So like, I still have some of the original printed like maps of Metropolis and Gotham, where I was working with Jim to like lay them out and stuff. And it's got like pencil notes and shit like that. So it was a pretty cool opportunity. Very hard project. It sucked as far as projects go. Just in terms of like a lot of the management bullshit, and yeah, it was just a very tough project. But overall, I'm pretty proud of what we ended up with. All right, so let's call it here. Not too far off. Like 6 minutes and 20 seconds. So you said like 7 minutes, Tupac? So it looks huge, but it's really, the zone's not that massive compared to zones that we have, right? Because I think we tend to hit around like the 7 minute mark, if I'm not mistaken, 5 to 7 minute mark. Dargith, why are you always busting my balls? All right, so Bjorn wanted to ask what it looked like different times of day with the cloud cover and stuff. So that's another thing that we'll be noting. And just for fun, we'll run up through the mountains now. So I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna reset my buff. Is it, I forget, is it JLX? Is it jail? And the X is just meant to be like a space? What do I call you? Since you're asking questions. I know we've had this conversation before, I think. Haven't we? Oh, my posture. J. Alex. That it makes even more sense. Alex is fine? Alright, Alex. That's super easy to remember. Yeah, Alex. Dargith likes to make the comment about it looks like a worse version, blah, blah, blah. Because someone said that about our game at one point. They said, looks like a worse version of EverQuest, and we've been laughing about it ever since. All right, so let's take the mountain route. Let's go. I've hit start, and we'll see if we can make our way through the mountain route. So kind of up around this way, I guess. kind of looks the same. Time-wise? Yeah, it probably won't be too horribly far off. I mean, in theory, it should be faster, right? Is there a bridge? There's not a bridge. We'll cheat. We'll fly. Oh, man, with the sun going down. Kind of misty. Here, let's get the sun back up. So you can see, as we ascend, it actually gets foggier. So that's something that Bjorn's put in for us already. We've got different volumes that as we go up, it'll get foggier. And that'll help with some of like the fakery out there. And there's an actual cloud layer that we can manipulate. Where we can actually run up through the clouds and then look down on the clouds if we want, if we feel like that's appropriate. But we'll probably save that for like much higher mountains. So we're about 1 minute and 40 seconds. Scruffy, this is Scarwood. This is the zone that the chat has been This is the zone that you guys have been working on. 2 minutes in. We're gonna hit this missing bridge in a minute. It's Chatwood. Little ET moment real quick. Little ET. How far down is that? Holy shit. That's sketchy. We can get a bridge across there. Alright. We'll turn fly back off. Does that gorge need water or no? No water? The chat, not to be confused with Chad. Please light the bridge up on final pass. There'll be giants there. There'll be giant torches and stuff. So 3 minutes. What was Alex's question? I'm guessing game will be using a class system like EQ, not a freeform skill system. Yeah, you know what? I thought for sure you were somebody else. It sounds like you will benefit from our website. I would have recommended it already, but I thought you were somebody else. You should check out our website. We've got an FAQ. We've got an FAQ about early access. We've got a shitload of info. Even when your literally empty zone has the right vibe. Hey, that's good to hear. Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, and join our Discord. Our Discord's actually, for having a decent number of people, we're at like 13,000, but it's pretty well behaved and welcoming, and so hop into our Discord if you're into that sort of thing. Tons of information there as well. We're at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and I think that's the zone line down there. Yep. Just beware the Lich. Lich is much more, he's much better behaved these days. I mean, it's still his fault, but coming up on 4 minutes and 50 seconds. I know, Lich is great. Let's see if this fog dissipates as I go down. It does. Perfect timing, right? That was not planned. 5 minutes and 15 seconds. And we can, we can nudge up that fog layer or whatever, but the initial direction that I gave This is one of those scripted behind the scene looks at game dev confirmed for sure. That wasn't planned, sure. It's all scripted. It's all AI. I'm a fraud. All right, so let's call it here. We've been calling it, and we'll say it is 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Alex, that is correct. There's been discussion about whether or not they're going to have any shape shifting. We've got Beastmaster as well. That's really, I think, meant to take up that mantle, but yeah. So, but it's not going to be like WoW-like, to the best of my knowledge. But I am just one member of the team conveying information. I'm not gonna lie, just watching you run around, I feel like if Piranhas was kind of the inspiration for the zone, it feels small. Hey, what's up, Lasava? So do you think this zone needs to be bigger? I would have never guessed bigger at the onset, but now that I've run through it. So let me write this time down while you guys discuss amongst yourselves. Once you jam a dozen POIs in there, negative space is going to dry up pretty quick. Well, I mean, let's look at how the POIs, what the POIs really are though, right? So 13 bandits. They might have a roadblock on occasion. We've got a POI up in the corner. Right? Poacher camp. We've got the giants down here. Keyframe says, feels a little tight. Mountains imply epic expanse to me, and Run didn't really feel like it. Run didn't feel epic enough? Okay. Bigger makes sense since you have those streams coming from the hills mountains, but that's not like a huge deal. Should I run a poll? Do you want to vote, or wait till you have a train chasing you without sound, then decide how big or small the zone feels? I think it'll be without sound. It'll wind up being what, probably like 10-minute run. Let's do it. While you guys are figuring it out, we'll do another run without Sal. But oh yeah, I forgot to put the time on here. I think we can get rid of these now. Thanks for the comments. Now, also, this is the route we took. Now, nothing's keeping you from taking this kind of like as a crow flies route. We said that this route was going to be faster, but more dangerous. And this one, like if you're following the road, definitely adds a few minutes, but not a ton. Do you have an estimate on how long it takes to run the current biggest zone in game, or is that secret info? I don't think it's, I don't think it's like a big spoiler. I think that's Vale of Zintar, and I think that's about 8 minutes. We can go take a look. Those of you that are familiar with Vale of Zintar, should we do that? That's the kind of stuff that we do sometimes, right? Where we're like, let's go back and refresh our memory. I've got zone times written down. I really should have had them with me. But was not 100% prepared. I was like 70% prepared for the stream. Copy, and this was 5:45. How much of a percent increase would we expect for the caravan running though? Or just mounted? More than Sal? No, less than Sal. So it'll be slower with a caravan for sure. But hey, let's go take a look at Vale real quick. We'll time it. Hold on 1 second. Jasmine's getting in the freezer, and I will need to mute you. I have not muted you yet, so Jasmine, if you would please not. You should be able to hear me again. Hey, Checks. Shannon said, I remember early Vale of Zentar from like 2023 maybe, when it was mostly just an empty flat expanse. That sound felt big. Yeah, that one was, I think it was like 18 minutes to run across with Sal. All right. I didn't zone for whatever reason. I'll just restart this and I'll hit play again in editor and then we'll get back in. We should be there when I pop back in. Yeah, that was the first, like, how big can we make a zone? Oh. Let me see if there's... do I need to grab latest or anything? Alex, also, if you go to the website, you can register, create an account. You can download the client. You can get patched up. You can make a character and look at the character and character create. There's a little button you can push that lets you run your character around in a little secret client side setup. You can click on the meat. Cool. All right. Vale of Zentar. Let's get the stopwatch ready. Let's get buffed up. And let's go. Stopwatch is running. Shannon said, people have said it already, but updated texture is looking great. Hey, thank you. You can compliment us as much as you like. We will take them. Scoot Nugas says, I like these streams because I get to see cool game dev stuff. I'm a web dev, which pays the bills, but game dev seems a lot more enjoyable. It can be. Some days, some days it feels pretty magical, and some days it absolutely feels like work. But this project's been pretty special, though. I feel like I've been through this. Oh yeah, I was like, I just wandered off the path. I'm gonna follow the road. At most, that added like 3 seconds. Kat said, that's why I like doing environment work. I get to see the result of what I'm working on visually as I work. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it feels for some of the other folks, but yeah, it's the same thing, like implementing, you know, implementing content or... It's just, it's interesting. There's so much stuff to do that there's always, like, there's a little... I can, like, context shift easily 3 or 5 times a day. Every once in a while, there'll be a day where it's just, like, I'm able to just focus on a single thing. You know, and a lot of that's just a discipline problem. It's not like a project problem or whatever. But just like able to like sit and just focus on one thing, and it's cool to see it come together. But it's rad. We're finally at a point where everybody's working on enough stuff that there's tons of stuff that I just haven't seen yet. So we're at 3 minutes. Super Spreaders said, "Hey, friend turned me onto your channel. Said you're a great based indie dev. Good luck with the project." Hey, thank you. That was enough criteria for you? You're like, I don't give a shit what the game is. Is he great? Is he based? Okay, perfect. That's all I care about. Well, it's good to meet you. Good to meet you. Target said he lied. These guys are slackers. It's true. We're like a worse version of game devs. Oh, I like his skeleton. Did you see his ribcage? Yeah, if you're into like, I guess I could have run straighter. I'm following the road. Is that a fair example? Did I mislead us on this test? It should have been a bit more crow flies, huh? Shit. I might have to redo this test. This is not science. I'm clearly anti-science. Yeah, if you're... yeah, we may have to run... We'll run backwards more as the crow flies. Yeah, if you're into, like, old school, late 90s, early 2000s MMO, this is our love letter to the games of that era and a little prior. What do you think about using what do you think about an MMO using loot generation system with random affixes in vein of Diablo? I think it worked well for, you know, I mean, we have an example of that with WoW, right? For at least like the green loot. I think depending on the game, it's fine. I'm kind of cool with almost anything if it's the right thing for that particular game. Like if we were to make a Dungeon Crawler Carl MMO, because somebody introduced us to Matt, and Matt was like, "Hey, you guys seem really great and based. Would you like to make an MMO out of my book series?" Then I think some random generation is fine. It's got a cool PS1 and 64 look to it, both, but with great draw distance. Yeah, I appreciate that. One hour and 49 minutes to the first DCC comment today. I could have sworn there was an earlier DCC comment. Awesome. Ollie is in like, I think Ollie is now on book 5, which good timing. It sucks that he dislocated his shoulder, but it is good for him that he's got the audiobooks to listen to. DCC go comment. That's what it was. COD said I may have to acquire them for when I drive back and forth into drive back and forth to wrestling school. Hey, what's up, Simon? It's funny. I did COD because of the visual of you going to wrestling school. You said wrestling school right when I was no bullshit. I was thinking about the fact that I sent Ollie that picture of the Iron Sheik doing the camel clutch on Hulk Hogan. I sent him that in a DM before I posted it for the team because I know he loves the Iron Sheik and the Iron Sheik. And I was already picturing that when you mentioned wrestling school, and I was picturing you saying that you would need the books for when you get hurt in wrestling school, and I was like, oh man, be more optimistic. Don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. All right, so we're currently at 8 minutes across here. Oh my gosh, I just minimized everything because computers are not my friend, apparently. All right, so we are basically at 8 minutes and 30. I don't want to hit the zone line, so like we'll maybe say 8 minutes. It's 30 now, so maybe 45 seconds. Do you think that was a fair test, or do I need to run it back? Are you guys like, you're like bored shitless? You don't want to see us run across this zone again, do you? So I think around here, or actually we'll call it 9 minutes. So that run took 9 minutes. This is some Creighton-based walking. Yes. Close enough? All right, I think it's close enough as well. All right, so what did we have? What do we have for our new zone? 620 and 545. So what are you guys thinking? Let's zone back to the other zone then, since we're not going to be running this one again. We'll see if we can zone without like locking up again. The Sava just ran Sungri Strand 6:30 for Sungri with Sal. Rookie numbers. Got to pump them up. All right. Do you guys want to make the zone bigger or no? All right, we're back in Scarwood. Do I have EQ's greatest asset when it comes to traversal, strafing? Yeah, you do. You can strafe run in our game. Don't let the POIs don't let the POIs throw you off, right? Because again, we're calling even just like a change in like the mob population as a POI, right? Like, so like 12 and 16, what's the difference between 12 and 16? 12, we've got dregs, green dregs, giants, or sorry, giant critters and treants. 16's undead and ghost treants and wisps, right? So 4 is the difference between 12 and 16. How about this? I'm going to... So this is the southern zone wall, and here we can see the northern zone wall. Assuming no obstruction from terrain and you know, trees and shit like that. Does that have the right feel? Does it feel big enough? I'll kill the GM run speed. Yeah, I mean, we iterate, you know, so we take and we increase, decrease zone size during this stage of the process all the time. We'll do a quick run from zone wall to zone wall as well, so you get a feel for that. Oh, one of the things that I want to look at, like if you look at these mountains, the reason why it's clipping is... So, see how the mountain doesn't seem very tall there? We'll see if it'll let me move the asset at runtime. It may not. I could have sworn I was able to do it. We may have to pop into the scene and look at that separately. But essentially, the reason why that's flat like that is it's being cut off by the clouds. Inspector. Maybe early to say, but once the game launches, Alex asks, do you expect the zones to be more or less locked in, or will there be events and things that could lead to zone changes in existing zones? Well, it is very possible that we'll be making changes to zones, not just as part of like continued development from early access through 1.0, but even after 1.0 is just kind of like zone revamps and things like that. Yeah, we did a little bit of that even, you know, back in EQ days in terms of like data changes and stuff, so. Thanks, Meat Boop. But essentially here's a cloud cover. In the volume that we're going into in the mountains. And then this is something that I think it's like a Unity thing that I just not 100% familiar with because I'm not an environment artist. But yeah, it wouldn't be massive. It wouldn't be massive zone changes. In a lot of cases, it would just be like little improvements here or there, or little content changes that make sense. All right. I thought there was something where I could. Just grab that, but I think it wasn't during runtime that I did it before and looked at it. Did all the royalty drama with Unity last year affect you? No, it was not a thing that was going to impact us. That said, I think for a few years now, Ali early on looked at like what it would take for us to port our content over to a different engine if we ever need to. So there's always a contingency plan, but the royalty thing was no big deal. Or the change in their Oh, sorry, just distracted myself looking at that. That kind of feels... let's time it really quick, but it feels like at a minimum, we definitely want to break up that line of sight so you're not able to look all the way across and see like the far zone wall anywhere. Not a fan of that. So we definitely probably make it hillier, and then we'd have trees and stuff put in here. I heard something in a video earlier. Someone mentioned Apple looking to buy Unity. Oh, that'll be interesting. Okay, let's find the stopwatch window. Reset, play, whoop, stop. Rebuff, and we'll just run real quick. Hey, quick sauna. All right, so we'll run across here. I am not playing today. Today I am looking at the actual mesh for the zone that we've been working on stream the last few sessions. So this is our map. JD Volta asked, would it be taxing to implement natural curvature to the ground to create a horizon of sorts? I think it would be hard to do. Yeah. What do you mean curvature? Get out of here with that. What are you? One of those round earthers? Apparently you don't know about our game lore. We're making a realistic game. Chip said you normally do that with the vertex shader to simulate it, not in the actual geometry. Is that so, Chip? Would that be? But that's only if you're elevated enough to actually notice it. Yeah, Alex. The setup's actually, it's not a bad one. For small world type games, you know, yeah. We should make a Katamari Damacy MMO. Viro, Eco's got a new name, but I don't think I ever updated my Eco link. That'll still get you to the right place. The name of the game's different, but... Oh, you meant Eco the... Okay, sorry, shit. I was like, are they? I don't know. I didn't notice it, but... Anytime I can pimp out... Anytime I can pimp out AOA or Eco. Yeah, Eco the Dolphin? Okay. 920 for glass flats. All right, so this is actually a smaller zone. I think we've got to bump it up a bit. Echo the Dolphin, was that in 64? Sega Genesis. What am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking of like Wave. Am I thinking of Wave Runner? Wave Racer? Wave Racer. Who modeled this zone so far? For those of you that came in a bit late, we basically... Oh, now are you guys... But now you're talking about like... Is that Eco? Let me click the link. Now you're talking about something completely different. All zones must be 1 to 1.5 sandwich lengths. We used to measure stuff in gnomes before the team got bigger, and it just kind of threw everybody. Anyway, sorry, back on track. Those of you that just came in, this was the previous session's work. From there, from here, the map you guys made, we got our map drawn in pencil by Nicodemus, which he inked and colorized. And Bjorn, which I think now I'm answering your question in Quicksana, Bjorn took and started to make a topographic. Yeah, chat made the map. If you go back, if you check out we post the VODs on YouTube. Did that not work? Oh, there we go. So I think this is what, the 3rd or the 4th session now? And we basically made it from scratch. We just started with like pretty simple constraints and then went from there. So end to end, we said is 351. So let's get those numbers as well. $351. All right. So I'm gonna run around a little bit more. We haven't gone around this like northern edge here. So all of this is fairly elevated relative to the rest of the zone. What was the time to cross? Let me bring it back up. The time to cross was... We went this route here. Doggeroni asked, you asked this a minute ago, I didn't answer, I apologize. Are there going to be any terrain types that could slow movement speed to walking? Like swampy, mud inclines, just asking if there's a way to constrain certain areas and stuff. We've kind of talked about that on occasion, but one of the things, it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to convey that state change and why, and I don't know. I think that one's a pretty iffy one. I'm not gonna say, oh shit, I just ran off in the middle of nowhere. Where are we, guys? I'm not gonna say that it may never happen, but I think it's tougher. That's fantastic in like tile-based games. Okay, so we're here. We're on the north side. I mean, it's absolutely doable. It's just a matter of could see abusing it for kiting mobs. Well, not if the mobs don't follow the same rules. You slow down, but the you know what I like about mobs? I slow down, they stay the same speed. That's only funny to me. All right. All right. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, man. It's alright, kids. Yeah. Alright, so while we're in here, let's look at elevation. Let's get a feel for like getting up here on up in the clouds on some of these peaks. Tough room. Nah, this room's great. I would expect nothing more. Great music on that intro video for your YouTube channel, by the way. Hey, thank you. If you like the music, we've got our entire playlist up. All the stuff that you hear in the background right now, if you can actually hear it, is all from our playlist. So this is another set of questions. So I think we're gonna play with making it a bit bigger. Now the question I have is, should we save this cloud effect passing through the clouds for bigger mountains? Because these mountains they're not going to be the biggest mountains in the game for sure. But they do help create an effect where this does help mask, like as you come up. Now what we could have is you go into clouds and you don't get above them. Right? Like we can make it so that you come in here and it's just another volume that's like, yeah, so to the north, like where the high elves are. So basically you would come in, you would enter the clouds, but you'd never get to the top. And then over here to the north, there's supposed to be, here, I'll show you. Add a coal-based dot when you get above certain altitude. We could, what? We could do a whole system based on that. Which is straight rip-off acclamation from Pantheon. Be like, well, yeah, there's Valheim, there's Breath of the Wild, right? Oh shit. It's stormy here. Those of you, like, people that have never seen the game at all before. Let's see if I can... we'll wait and see if you can see some lightning really fast. Druids changing weather. I still think it would be cool if it required like a group ritual, multi-person spell. Oh, the animated class icons are definitely staying in. Alex said, I always saw like some sort of wrestling type class in MMO where you use grappling, body slams, pile drivers, things like that. If we ever do the DCC MMO, that's definitely got to be a class. There we go. I'll cheat really fast. Any more lightning? No more lightning? Come on. Oh man, I was hoping some of the new people would see some cool lighting. Oh well. We came here to look at a mountain. What if giants could be struck by lightning? That'd be so good. All right. So, anyways, the reason why we came over here, I think something I just did messed up that shader in there. Nope, it's still messed up. And actually everything looks a little wonky at the moment. I have to get with Bjorn. All right, so first of all, you can see how well like hills and trees can break up line of sight. I just want to get over and see if we can still see that big ass honking mountain. Oh, we don't see any more. I have to ask Bjorn if it got moved or what the deal is. Is that it back there? All right. Oh, they're back there. I just don't. Maybe they're further back now and you can't see them anymore? Anyways. So the reason why I came here is the hope is that you can see mountains in the distance. I think it just passed the draw limit is what's going on. And so we'll have these mountains outside the forest. Like on that northeast turn side where it goes up and there's these big mountains in the distance. And then that will be where the high elves are. And those will be the big honkin' mountains. Does this zone line actually work? Okay. No. So anyways, we'll be working on those pieces. And we'll also fix this. I'm gonna take a screenshot and just send it to him right now while I'm in here. Figure out why this is doing this. Let me post this. Looks like these broke? Question mark. Yeah, sorry. I would tabbed over to post this in and then immediately got caught up reading something else. And that happens sometimes on stream. And then, like, all right. So the thing I came over here to show you isn't going to work because it's just not visible here. We'll have to take a look at it. And zone Scarwood. All right. So that didn't work. But at least we can see the zone at a different time of day now. All right. So let me, what time is it here? Time is 6 p.m. So time set 5 p.m. And again, I think if we maintain this cloud cover the way it is, I think we may still pull it up a little bit just because right now it's pretty visible the way that it clips off the mountain and kind of flattens it, takes it away a little bit from the mountain. So I think what we may do is just grab this and we'll pull it up a bit. I think if we just go straight into the scene, it'll be easier to see. So let me do that now. Let's see, project map. Scarwood. Compiling shaders, that's why it looks wacky right now. I don't know if you can see that on my screen, bottom right. Cool. So, if we come down here, yeah, we can absolutely play around with the cloud itself to make it less. Sort of like less of a just like a sheer kind of cut. Am I on the right side though? I don't think I was. Nope, I wasn't. Vegetation will be added later on the ground, grass, flowers. So in clumps, but like the just sort of grass kind of sticking up everywhere. Been pretty, we've talked about it. Last discussion is still probably not. But there'll be trees and then, you know, clumps of bushes and some high grass and stuff like that that kind of breaks it up a bit, but it won't be like the procedural just coat of shag carpet. All right, so here we are looking at that cloud cover. And we can push it up. So this is what we got here. And I mean, we could do both if you'd like. We can push up the clouds a bit, and we could also, as we're making everything a little bit bigger, we could maybe make that peak a bit higher so that you can at least go into it. So we can play around with that. But then one of the goals was as you're going up, we did want to go ahead and start to make it misty, because what that'll allow us to do is take and basically take and make it so that these mountain facades and the stuff that you're seeing in the distance, it's not super crisp. It's not super clear, so you know it's there. You can probably, if you're looking northwest, you'll see the trees and stuff in the background, right? You'll see the Elves Mountain up here, kind of the silhouette of it, right? Especially as you get closer to the zone wall. Me playing with the elevation of this thing seems to have... No? Yeah, so anyways, rather than have it look like that, have it so that it's, you know, kind of masking out, right? So, would it get more misty towards the dead side of the zone? It could. Do the mountains, mountain range need a name? They do. So if you want to pass some over, Bill, definitely take a look. One other question I have before we wrap up tonight, like, size of the lake. Couldn't you just limit the draw distance to hide the edges? You could limit the draw distance, but then it's a pretty, like... We can either limit the... If we can limit it in a way where it doesn't just feel like a hard limit. We're pretty big fans of, like, having continuity between the zones. So if we look at the lake, is that good? I didn't check to see if this has got like a nav mesh yet. It looks like a foot. I think that's fair. All right, so I'm not hearing anything super controversial or giant foot lake. I'm not hearing any like big pushback or desire to modify the size of it. So I'm gonna assume we're good for now, and then if we get in here and we start like adding some stuff. Here, let me hop back into the actual map itself really fast, and then we'll look at it. I guess I could have hit save on that, and then we would have seen it when we went in. Darius said, I thought the zone would be wider than it is tall, to be honest. I thought so too, based off of... I think... that was the case here. But not so much the case in the... Right, it got a little more square than rectangle once we hit the drawing. But I think that's fine. And we can make some tweaks. Alex said, Star Stable looks like it would have been kind of awkward game to work on. I guess you had to separate yourself from target demographic eventually. Oh no, I mean it was a really cool game to work on. It's fun, like just kind of putting yourself in the head of like what makes a compelling experience for this player. I enjoyed the shit out of Star Stable. They have a ton of lore in the background. Just a really cool project. If the zone is scaled up with everything else in the zone scale up. Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that we'll have to look at. But I don't think that'll be a bad thing with regards to the lake. Here, I'll turn it into an ogre. That helped. Now it kind of feels small, huh? Like a big pond instead of a lake. So we can scale everything at the same percentage. We can scale along one axis at a different percentage. We can go in and just handcraft and start to tweak stuff. Yeah, so I think we'll probably, this will start to diverge a bit from from the actual drawing. I think the lake is fine, but what about source of the lake? I don't think the lake is fine, Tupac. I think this is a bit small. Otherwise, it really is just kind of a pond. I mean, we got a pond about this big at my city park. Not too far from here. Maybe scale the lake up in size, but leave the zone size same, so the lake takes up a bigger percentage. Yeah, but I think the earlier feedback was that we also wanted to look at just making the zone slightly bigger, because relative to our other zones, even end to end, this winds up being sort of kind of on the lower end of a lot of our zones. What are you comparing it to? Il Owen or Dagnor's Cauldron? Neither one. I wasn't thinking of really. It's kind of maybe a little bit like picturing Il Owen. I'm just picturing something that conveys lake. I'm not being comparative. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think of like what would I expect this lake to be based on kind of. I don't know that there's an ab mesh in here, so I don't know. See. Lake should feel big enough that it used to support a high elf resort. Yeah. I mean, that is the... then it needs to move or more land around it. It could be classified as a runoff or reservoir. Why does it need to do that? A lake is surrounded? Meaning that it can't... Currently your lake is on a wall? No, it's not directly on the wall, Tupac. What are you, the lake police? Oi! You have a license for that lake. How many units does it need to be away from this wall for it to still be considered a lake? And 1,000 gnomes? Alright, we'll measure it. Now we can definitely put a little bit more green in there. But the lake's gotta be bigger. I tell you, that's a very average lake. You might even call it too much lake to handle. Listen, some people may say that. I wouldn't say that. So SN Hill Giant. Because these other guys here are pretty big. These giants are a little bit smaller. Now the actual depth and stuff is something that, I mean, we can also manage separately, but if you'd like, I'll spawn one here. What if one edge of the lake is a higher elevation, like a bluff or a cliff, and the other is more of water level? Also adding a few perpendicular arms per lake might make it seem bigger. Could be. Alright, so that giant is clearly able to drown in there. What's the potential time frame for Scarwood to be playable? Like, is a module 2 or something? We'll see how this process goes. It may be early access. Either module 1 or early access. What is the unit of weight in M&M? Is it stones or pounds? I forget. We had talked about going the coin route at one point. I'm not kidding. We used to measure things in gnomes. M&Ms? I don't think we can legally do that. Alright, so, but hey, look. I mean, I think we can get the lake there without, like, too crazy dramatic scale changes, but I think we can get it there with a little bit of, we'll wiggle this a little bit this week and see if we can get it there. But I mean, you know, once you start to see once you've got some things to actually look at perspective wise, it's not that small. So once we get trees and shit like that in here, it'll feel a little bit bigger. Have two NPCs arguing if it's a lake or a pond. That'd be perfect. We can actually we can put that in, right? Like, you guys are allowed to define some of the content that comes in, right? They gotta be on a boat though, a giant boat. Yeah, so I mean, look at this guy in a distance. That's decent scale. cool. So let's write some notes so I don't forget. Though, I mean, honestly, I'll remember most of this stuff. Come in here. I'll keep the notes dead simple. Okay. That's tiny. Tweak overall scale. Adjust clouds. Adjust lake. Make sure it's deeper. So, lake. All right. So I think the next set of changes shouldn't be too bad. Your pond faction? Yeah, would you guys be sad if it ends up being a pond? But I mean, there's supposed to be a resort somewhere around here. If this goes well, would you consider doing a dungeon collab with the community in the future? I think that'd be a bit harder. Because in theory, outdoor environments are a bit easier to knock out. Telecure is an outdoor dungeon, though. Yeah, but you're not making your case. I mean, we could design one on paper. I just think this one will actually stand a much greater chance of being playable and in-game in the foreseeable future. But we could run through the paper design for the whiteboard design for a dungeon for sure. Cool. All right. So I think we're at a good stopping point. That'll allow us. Are the Nintendo 64 graphics ever going to be improved? I think they've released consoles since then, Valkron. Let's see. So, Switch 2 is out in a few days. I'm not going to upgrade, though. I just can't. I couldn't justify it. All right. So, to do a quick recap, we are now in the map that we started, what, 2 weeks ago? Three streams ago. We started here with a nice empty box. We have filled it in with points of interest, the NPCs that will be used in here. Points of interest include basically sub-scenes or distinct, you know, like population breakdowns, right? So like 11 would be Mountain Giant Camp. 14's the Mountain Giant Bridge, whereas 16 we've got like the Undead and Ghost Treants and Wisps and stuff. So we started here, and then we've gone down to a paper map. We've discussed elevation. Bill has inked it in. And then we've got the elevation that was kind of built out here prior to then putting it into World Creator, getting an actual mesh baked out, and now we've got some timing figured out on our mesh here. So we can compare that to our other zones and have a feel of like, all right, what's traversal time looking like? What's distance between POIs? And I think the one run we didn't do is like directly from this edge to that edge, but my assumption is, given these angles, it's probably going to be less than 5 minutes, right? So that gets us to the point where now we're going to make adjustments on scale and start to tweak the POIs a little bit and kind of see where we land with that. Next session, if that is in place, if we're not ready by Thursday with adjustments, then we'll do it next Tuesday. And then we'll also be able to throw in some objects to further look at scale, right? So some of it will just be for fun to kind of get a feel for what a point of interest may feel like, right? So like we'll throw in an existing bridge or some campfires and tents and stuff like that. What time frame are you aiming for the east-west run timer? It's at 6 minutes now. It probably wouldn't hurt for it to be at about like 8 minutes or so. But the angled route being like 8 minutes. So, and then see what that feels like. I mean, we've tweaked scale and stuff like that in the past. You know, even after we started putting objects in and stuff. And of course, that's assuming no mobs along the way, etc. Yeah. Is this free drawn? The maps that you're looking at were hand drawn by Nicodemus. Yeah, so we started, like, we handed him the map that we did together in here. And then, you know, with the legends and stuff, so you could get some ideas, right? So like he would look here and be like, all right, this area's got like ghosts and wisps. And so then by the time he gets to the point where, and this is, like I said, this is a very bad picture of the drawing. You can see here it's hand drawn and it's got, you know, like the various stuff listed out. So cool. Now, one of the challenges that we may face in getting this zone like kind of done is the fact that this eastern side is using assets for Fields of the Lost, and that's a zone we haven't started on yet as a team. So we don't have those assets or textures yet. So, but yeah, I think that covers us. It is now 10:41 p.m. my time, and I think we're at a good stopping point. So I think I'm going to wrap up tonight. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. And then I'm going to get ready for bed because I'll wind up being up at 5:30 in the morning. Cool. Hey, thanks for participating on this. This has been fun so far. Viro, you're welcome. See you shoes. Coot. Ponytail. Keyframe. Chili sauce. Gunner Wolf. Bill, thanks again. See you, Quick Sauna. Later, Brex. Swanee. Doggeroni. Yeah, if you guys check the VODs are up. So, Brett, if you want to go back, you can check the VODs. See you, Corvid. Good night, Zukin. Later, Viper, Cod. Tsunami-san. John, Chex. Dozakar, see ya. Later, Corvus. Thanks for being here, Navarre. The Wyvern. Lissava. Later, Fuller. Good night again, Bill. Poop, Kenji, Knuckles. I'm not giving you the ogre on horse shot, Tupac. Sorry. Later, Dark Inside. All right, if that's about it, I'm gonna press the button now, and I will see you guys probably on Thursday. Later, Spoff. Guys, have a great, I guess Wednesday, and then I'll see you the day after. And if this isn't ready by then I don't know. We'll play or we'll do something else. See ya.